What is up, besties? It's Lily and welcome back to Slater Vlogs. So Sarah's at OSU right now, but I am here at Miami University and I am watching Dancing with the Stars and I'm doing recaps for my school newspaper, and I decided to do a little recap through video on this vlog. So let's get into it. Now, I do realize that I kind of missed the past like 3 weeks in these recaps, so we're just gonna roll with it. I also do want to note that I am no way a professional ballroom dancer. I did ballet for 13 years and other styles as well, but I was never a ballroom dancer. I'm taking ballroom dance lessons here at school though, and it's really interesting. It's really fun. And I've been an avid fan of Dancing with the Stars since I was little. Derek Huff was literally my first celebrity crush, no joke. So I'm a huge fan of the show, and I just think that even with a little bit of dance knowledge that I have, it may not be ballroom, I can still kind of give a little bit of feedback from a viewer's perspective, from a fan's perspective. So let's get into it. So I have my little sheet here. I'll probably have like a notebook or something, but I don't have like a fancy notebook or anything to write things in, so we're just gonna go with this lovely piece of notebook paper. It was Disney Villains Night, so Dancing with the Stars actually had a 2-night event. Monday was Heroes Night and Tuesday was Villains Night. It was Disney Week, so on Tuesday night, which is the one that I'm recapping for this video, all the dancers dressed up and danced as Disney villains, and it's kind of sad because I didn't get Thanos, and I really wanted to see like Thanos make an appearance from Marvel, but you know what? It was so fun. It was spectacular anyway. First up, we have Jimmy Allen and Emma. They danced a jazz routine to Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, and Jimmy Allen was Captain Hook from Peter Pan, and they got a 9, 8, 9, and a 9 for a 35 out of 40 as their total. So I really liked that they had a nice rhythm to the dance. I liked the lifts. I think the partner work was great. I think that he really broke out of his shell this whole week. So on Monday and Tuesday, he really broke out of his shell. I think he was definitely dancing with a lot more confidence, and I love to see that. No matter if you win or lose, whether it's, dance related or not, I think to see like one little difference and one little change in a contestant is like all worth the while. I think that this was definitely his strongest performance yet, as Bruno mentioned. I love when he cursed when he saw the 9s for his scores. I literally thought my TV was broken or like my antenna was like not receiving a signal, but it was just him cursing, and I love it. For next week, I think that he could work a little bit on technique. So he's now out of his shell. He's now more comfortable on stage. He's now more confident on stage. So now all he has to do is work on that technique and brush up on that footwork and arm placement, and we're good to go. So next up, we have Cody, Rigsby, and Cheryl. So they danced a Viennese waltz to Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, and you can probably guess Cody was Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. They got an 8, 7, 8, 8 for a 31 out of 40 as their total. I'm so happy that Cody and Cheryl are back in the ballroom. I know they had a little bit of a COVID thing happening, and they had to do their dance virtually, and under the circumstances that they were in and the situation they were in, they did amazing, but I'm so happy to have them back in the ballroom. I thought that their dance had really good character to it. I liked his open body, especially when he was doing all this like arm movement. Sometimes, especially when you're a little shy on stage, you get a little bit hunched over, and so that makes your body a little bit not open, but he was very open in his shoulders and his chest. I really enjoyed that. He definitely should be applauded for learning 2 dances in 3 days. Because of the whole COVID thing and testing and everything, they could really only practice in person and together for Friday, Saturday, Sunday until the Monday show. I think it's crazy that he learned like 2 whole dances in 3 days. Like, that's insane. I don't know if they do it like the same for every competition, but I heard that on So You Think You Can Dance, one day isn't even like a rehearsal, it's more for filming and for, you know, camera purposes. So they might even have 2 days to rehearse, and that's really crazy. They still did rehearse on Zoom, but it's just not the same. Derek mentioned that he could be a little bit lower in the legs, and I think that advice is great because it helps with his control. There were stumbles throughout, and he had a little bit of struggles with the turns in there, so I think that once he gets grounded in the legs, it'll help control his movements and especially his energy. So next up we have Mel C and Gleb. They had a Viennese Waltz to Once Upon a Dream by Lana Del Rey. She was Maleficent from Maleficent, and I loved her costume. Oh my goodness. All the costume and makeup and lighting and design for these two shows, or these two episodes, were amazing. So props to them, props to the crew. They are absolutely amazing in making the show absolutely spectacular and magical like Disney should be. They got a 9.899 for a 35 out of 40 as their total. I liked that they had really good frame. I think that she's definitely been a strong performer and a strong dancer throughout the show. She was very serious, focused, and very in character, and I loved that. I loved how she just kind of committed to the character. As Bruno said, it was like the whole ballroom was under a spell, and that is so true. Like, definitely captured the essence of the movie and the mood of the movie and the mood of the story. For next week, I think that she could work on the essence of the dance. I do know that during Disney Week, and especially all these themed weeks, that sometimes the pros get a little bit flexible in their choreography. They sometimes add in a little bit more experience-based things. I'm not blaming like Gleb, the pros. It's definitely a fun week and it's very lighthearted, but I would really like to see her do like a really good technical piece. Next up, we have Jojo, Siwa, and Jenna. They had a Paso Doble to Ways to Be Wicked from Descendants 2, and Jojo was Mao from Descendants 2, and they got an 8, 9, 9, and a 9 for a 35 out of 40 as their total. The energy was fierce and powerful, which I loved. Really good footwork and technique, as always. I mean, it's JoJo. She's had dance experience, and I'm not going over this again. Ballroom is different from any other type of dance experience, so I'm just going to leave it at that and not go through this whole rant because I will rant. The energy was definitely debated on. Carrie Ann said it was a little hectic, and Len said it was very controlled. Derek thought it was maybe the hair flipping around that, you know, caused the hecticness. So I think for next week, she should focus her energy on the technique and on the steps. I think that right now she's focusing her energy on the personality and the character, and that's where it kind of gets a little chaotic, a little hectic. There's no doubt about it, JoJo has a lot of energy, and I love that spirit. I love how she has that energy, but I think that sometimes when she can tone it down a little bit, especially in her Viennese Waltz in the Heroes Week, that was absolutely beautiful and stunning. I really like that kind of calm JoJo, so I kind of agree with Carrie Ann on that aspect of it, but I wouldn't say that the whole routine was hectic. I think it was very controlled. I think to eliminate that kind of confusion, she could just kind of work a little bit on toning down the energy and focusing it on her technique instead of the character. Next up, we have Kenya Moore and Brandon. They did a Viennese Waltz to Dangerous Woman by Ariana Grande, and Kenya Moore was the evil queen from Snow White. They got a 7.788 for a 30 out of 40 as their total. I thought the turns were really, really smooth. I was a jumper in ballet, so I could never turn, and I really loved how it was powerful but also elegant. And this goes for all of the Viennese waltzes that I've seen in this episode, is that like it's kind of weird because usually I would think like Argentine Tango and Paso Dobles are really good for like a villain's night, because I think that those are just like the two most intense numbers, obviously, and so, you know, the intensity of, you know, the character of a villain is, you know, perfect for a Paso Doble or an Argentine Tango. But I think that these Viennese waltzes were great because they were elegant, but they were really powerful. I think that Derek saying own the fierceness was a really good piece of advice. I think throughout the weeks that I've seen her perform, she's really got the steps down. She's got the steps down, she's got the technique, and I know that she can connect with the song that she's dancing to. I know that she can connect with the movement that she's doing and kind of the theme of the whole week. I think that that's something holding her back. It needs to just kind of let go, and so then she can release the beast and really just own up to that fierceness as Derek said, and own up to that energy and really create a good energy and a good vibe. I think that she really needs to work on performing, as my dance teachers would always say, perform to the last row in the theater. Next up we have Iman Schubert and Daniella. They danced an Argentine tango to Arabian Nights from Aladdin, and Iman was Jafar from Aladdin. They got a 9, 7, 9, and 8 for a 33 out of 40 as their total score. The lifts, oh my goodness, the lifts at the beginning and at the end of this dance were absolutely insane, absolutely incredible, totally in character. Amazing job, Daniella, for that amazing choreography. It was majestic. It was like you were experiencing a whole magic trick. It was so good. It was very like experience based, which I loved. I think it definitely worked for this whole week because, as I said before, Disney Week is very lighthearted. It's very fun and fun-spirited, and it's very lenient as well as far as choreography goes. So I think that the experience-based choreography is amazing. It's great, especially for this week. But I think that even with that experience-based choreography and performance, you can work on technique and you can work on footwork and you can work on making the dance technically better. Next up, we have Melora Hardin and Artem. They did a jazz routine to Mother Knows Best from Tangled, and then she played Mother Gothel from Tangled. She got a 9, 10, 9, 9 for 37 out of 40 as her total. They climbed to the top of the leaderboard. I swear Artem is coming out for you guys. Artem is really determined to get that mirror ball again. She also got the first 10 of the season and obviously the highest score of the season. She got the first 10 from Len, which has to feel good. I mean, Len pulled the whole from Len, the 10, which I love. Also, I did not know that Melora Hardin was in Hannah Montana the movie until like she said it on the first episode of Dancing with the Stars. I was like, oh my god, she played that character in Hannah Montana the movie. This was definitely a character-based performance and I loved it. Very good lifts, very good lines. Carrie Ann said that she was playing it a little safe, which I agree. I've definitely seen better energy from her, I guess. I think the best advice for her is to just never hold back and to trust Artem. I mean, he was the winner last season, so there's no reason not to trust him. So definitely trust in your partner. Don't hold back from the energy. Don't hold back from the character. So next up we have the Miz and Whitney. They did an Argentine tango to Be Prepared from The Lion King, and he played Scar from The Lion King. I just want to say that the Miz's costumes and makeup and like the commitment to that was absolutely amazing. I think Derek said that and I totally agree. I mean, like literally painting himself blue for the genie in Aladdin for Heroes Night, and then now like literally transforming himself into a lion, into Scar from The Lion King for Villains Night was absolutely hilarious. I love it. They got a 9, 8, 9, 8 for a 34 out of 40 as their total. I really like their sharpness and intensity. Carrie Ann said that he has specificity of movement, which I think I totally agree on that. And I think that definitely helped with the sharpness and intensity, especially in the Argentine tango, those kicks, flicks, lifts, everything like that. I think that next time he needs to find the balance between grounding his feet and lifting his upper body. So we talk about grounding the feet and how that helps with control, but also lifting up the body helps with control. So it's just like this really weird balance of like, you have to ground your legs, but you have to look effortless up top. That really helps control your movement. It helps balance you out. We talk about it all the time in ballet how it's really important to ground your foot in like a goalpost or like a signpost or something like that. Like you really need to ground your foot and your leg into the ground, but you have to lift this up in order to balance. So it's this really weird like balancing illusion kind of thing that happens. So if he can work on that, and I mean, I get it, he's a WWE fighter. I think they even mentioned in Heroes Night that he has this like really like soft side to him that you wouldn't really expect from somebody like as like macho as the Miz, but it works. And I think that if he can really ground himself in the ground and then use that softness in the upper body it'll help out with his balance, his stumbles, his turns, and control of his movement. Next up, we have Brian Austin Green and Sharna. They had a Paso Doble to He's a Pirate from Pirates of the Caribbean, which is one of my favorite movies, and he portrayed Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean, which I love that character so much. They got a 7.677 for a 27 out of 40 as their total. I really enjoyed this dance, mainly because he was forced to really move for himself. Brian Austin Green and Sharna are actually dating in real life, so it's really interesting to see kind of like that dynamic of like how this is going to work. I think they're a very cute couple. I think it's just that in this context of this competition reality dance TV show, probably not the best pairing. I think like if we could even say that there was a breakthrough dance, this was definitely his breakthrough dance because they were fighting. It was Captain Jack Sparrow against Barbossa, and they're fighting to be the captain, obviously, of the ship. It had a little bit more of a meaning other than a love connection to Brian, and so it kind of forced him to think out of the box. It kind of forced him to actually portray his character and to move because of that character portrayal, and I really liked seeing that. He was eliminated, though. I think they did make the best choice for that. He definitely wasn't the strongest dancer, and again, no hate to like their whole relationship and everything. They're a very cute couple, but I think that it should definitely stay between them and not kind of be in the ballroom. Next up, we have Matt James and Lindsay. They did a Paso Doble to Jungle by Ex Ambassadors, and Matt James portrayed Ka from the Jungle Book. They got an 8.788 for 31 out of 40 as their total. I think that this was definitely his best performance, technically and character-wise. He really embodied that character. He had a really good facial expression going on, very good intense energy from him. He was also eliminated. I think that overall, like, I'm okay with the elimination, but at the same time, I would have liked to see him stay for like maybe a week or two, just because he was definitely getting a lot better. Next up, we have Olivia, Jade, and Gleb. My B, her partner's Val. Moving on. They did a jazz routine to Remember Me from Coco, and they both played Ernesto de la Cruz and kind of were fighting for the spotlight, which I think was really fun and cute. They got an 8, 9, 9, and 9 for a 35 out of 40 as their total. As I kind of mentioned before, it was a very cute story and very good character portrayal. Also, Derek mentioned that she was just this natural performer. I totally agree. I had no idea that she didn't have any dance experience or performance background at all. And just to see her kind of be herself and this like lively self and getting all this technique and choreography down is great. I know that the judges, I don't know who it was, it might have been Carrie Ann who said it Heroes Week, that she has this trust in Val, and I think that trust in Val and that friendship that she has with Val has really helped her, because she's able to put all of her trust in her dance partner, and she's able to kind of let herself be free and let herself learn from Val and kind of hang on to his every word and hang on to his every bit of expertise. Carrie Ann said that she also danced safe, kind of the theme for her comments in this whole episode, but I think to improve with that, she needs to work on making her emotions enhance the steps. Character performance is kind of different from technique performance, so to kind of blend those two together, I think that she and other dancers can really work on technique and letting the personality and letting the character embodiment enhance the steps. So if the step is to extend the arm here, let the character extend the arm in the way the character would. So if you're playing a villain, make the character extend the arm in a powerful way. If you're doing elegance and if you're making the dance a little bit elegant like a Disney princess, make it very flowy and extend the arm very flowy and very gradual. So there's ways in which you can incorporate your character and your emotion in a dance to the technique as well. Next up, we have Suni Lee and Sasha. They did a Viennese waltz to I Put a Spell on You from Hocus Pocus, and Suni Lee played Winfred Sanderson from Hocus Pocus. She got an 9.899 for a 35 out of 40 as her total. The technique and footwork was really good as always. As Carrie Ann said, emotion in that story matched the technique, finally. I saw it in Shawn Johnson and now I'm seeing it in Suni. Shawn Johnson was like in 2009, I believe. So I saw it way back when Shawn Johnson was doing this with Mark Ballas, which I miss Mark, by the way. I saw it in Shawn Johnson, now I'm seeing it in Suni Lee. A lot of gymnasts are very shy on the dance floor just because they learn to not show personality. personality. Because they are so serious, you know, they kind of have this serious emotion on the dance floor, as if they are doing that dismount on the beam. Like, that's how they dance. So for the past, I guess, 3 or 4 weeks, I've been really rooting for Suni to really burst out of her shell, and she finally did, and I'm so proud of her. So in the next coming weeks, I think that she should work on really like going for it and really maintaining that, because you can only, I mean, like, one performance doesn't cut it. You have to maintain that energy, you have to maintain that character, and you have to maintain that confidence. If she can work on maintaining that and even pushing herself even further, I think that she's gonna go so far in this competition. Again, she's already gotten the technique down, she's already gotten the footwork down. It's so precise, so clean, and so amazing that all she really needs to do is maintain that character, maintain that energy and that confidence, and she will be going far in the competition. And finally, we have Amanda Klutz and Alan. They did a paso doble to Call Me Cruella from Cruella, and you can probably guess Amanda Klutz was Cruella. They got 9s across the board for 36 out of 40 as their total. I love how her stare was so intense that it scared Len. Like, that's absolutely hilarious. I think that she had really good passion and really good intensity, and I loved how they were so in sync with each other, Alan and her. Derek said that she should place the arms instead of whacking them kind of around, and I think a lot of that, I think she had a little bit of JoJo in her. She was super excited to do a paso doble, and even said that, like, the reason that she wanted to do this show is because she wanted to do a paso doble. It's her favorite dance, and so I think that excitement kind of got to her, and it made her movement a little bit sloppy in a way. There's a little bit of missteps in there as well. It really kind of made her not as precise as she could have been in the paso doble. Now it's time to talk about this elimination. They had a double elimination, so Brian Austin Green and Sharna were eliminated just right off the bat, and then they had like the judges picks for the bottom 2, and that was Kenya Moore and Brandon and Matt James and Lindsay. Obviously they went with Kenya Moore and Brandon because Matt James was eliminated, and I have a little bit of things to say about this. First and foremost, I do think that Kenya was the strongest dancer out of those two. I think that she was the most consistent. I am a little bit confused on how this kind of worked. Like, it was kind of weird. With like 3 judges, it works because, you know, if one judge votes for one couple and then another judge votes for the other couple, the judge remaining would break the tie. But for some reason they had, so 2 judges voted for Matt James and Lindsay to stay in the competition, and then 1 judge voted for Kenya Moore and Brandon. That was considered a tie, and then Len was the tiebreaker, so he had the final say, and he said that he wanted to keep Kenya Moore and Brandon in the competition. I'm not saying that I'm against his decision. I'm not saying that I'm against Len in general. I think he's an amazing judge, and I think that he did make the right decision. I'm just confused on how, like, that would be fair in general. Just like in general, because if Len chose Kenya to stay in the competition, that would have been the second vote for Kenya. So it would even out the votes for 2 and 2. Which would be a tie, right? I think what they can do in future seasons is maybe have like a consultation process during like the commercial break or something, and then like come back and like have like a final decision amongst the judges all together. So kind of like a universal judge's decision. Each judge still has their case to plead or whatever, but like I think that if they have kind of this universal way of going about things, it would make the competition a little bit more fair and the eliminations a little bit more fair. This was the very first analysis, so thank you for joining me. I hope to do this each week, so I guess I'll see you guys next week. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications so you're updated every single time we upload a video. Comment down below video ideas, comment your thoughts, feelings, opinions on this video, what you liked, what you didn't like. Follow us on social media. The links are in the description below. Also, if you want to check out all the dances that happened, those links will also be in the description below. And if you want to check out my written analysis that I wrote for my school newspaper, that will also be linked in the description below. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.